Unlike model elements in Revit, annotations are two-dimensional and view-specific. They only show up in the views in which they were created. They consist of text, dimensions, tags, symbols, keynotes, and the like. Let's take a look. The first type of annotation we'll take a look at are tags. Tags are elements that identify things like doors and windows and reference them back to a schedule, which we'll learn how to create at a later time. If you go to the Annotate tab, you can find the Tag panel, and you'll find two tools, Tag by Category and Tag All. These are the tools that you use to tag objects. We'll start with the Tag by Category. Once you select that, if you hover over a door or window, or even a wall, objects that can be tagged, a tag will show up, and when you left-click, it will become permanent on the page. There we go. You can always delete it if you want, and bring it back in the same manner. Once you have it listed or placed, you can move it wherever you want. You can also, using these tools up here, change it from horizontal to vertical, or create a leader for it. As you continue to tag your doors, you can see that Revit numbers them in sequential order. You can see, if I highlight the doors, that they're all the same type, single flush, 36 by 84. But the tags are in sequential order, 1, 2, 3. These are instance parameters, or mark tags. That means that even though the doors are the same type, they are tagged or numbered by individual instance. If we tag the windows, again, Annotate tab, Tag Category, Tag Panel, we'll go to the Tag by Category and tag the windows. Unlike the doors, these windows are all the same and therefore have all the same tag. These are type tags or type mark tags. Revit by default tags windows by the type and tags doors by the instance. If we highlight a door, we can come to the Property palette and see that the mark is 1. If we change this, it'll change the tag. I'm going to back up. I want to keep that as door tag 1. If I highlight the door, I can edit the type and scroll down and find that the type mark is also a 1. If I change this to, say, a B, nothing changes on the drawing. That's because this tag is referencing the instance type mark, the instance mark of this door. So it's the tag that references either the instance mark or the type mark, which is down here, of each object. Let's take a look at the window. If we highlight the window, we can see that the mark is a 3. If we change this one, say to a G, again nothing changes because this window tag is referencing the window's type. So we can go to the Edit Type. We need to highlight the window, edit the type of the window, and we can scroll down and see that the type mark is the 3. This is what the tag, or the window tag, is referencing. I could continue tagging by category all of the doors and windows, but you can imagine if I have a large project with hundreds of doors and windows, that could take a long time. Therefore, Revit, on the Annotate tab, Tag panel, has created a Tag All tool. if I select this, Revit now wants me to pick which categories I want to tag everything on the page. We'll pick door tags and window tags. And when we hit OK, you can see that all of the doors and windows have been tagged. The next annotation we'll take a look at is the material tag, and it is also found on the Annotation tab, Tag panel. It is located right here. The material tag does exactly what it sounds like. It identifies materials. I'm going to change this wall to an exterior brick on metal stud wall. If we go to an elevation and we pick the material tag, we can see that Revit already has by default the material listed as common brick for this wall. If we left click, we can add a leader to it, again just like the window tag from up here. The nice thing about using material tags is if we go to a floor plan, the material tag will work here as well. So it doesn't matter which view we're in, as long as the material can be seen in that view, the material tag will label it. We can highlight this tag and edit the type, and we can add a different leader arrowhead, for instance, a heavy end. And again, whether you're in elevation or floor plan or any view that shows that material, you can tag it using the material tag. If we highlight this wall and edit the type, we can go into the structure and look at the material that the tag is looking at. If we actually open up the materials properties, we can go into the identity and find the description here, which is common brick. This is where the tag is referencing. If we were to call this common brick running bond and hit OK, and hit OK, and hit OK, you can see that our material tag has been updated. And that again is on every view that shows the material. The next annotation we'll take a look at are symbols. We'll continue staying on the Annotate tab, but we'll go to the Symbol panel, and we can select Symbol here. By default, there are only two symbols, the center line and the north arrow, that Revit comes with. If you have a site plan, you might want to use that north arrow. Or if you are on a site plan or a dimension, or you need anything that shows a center line, you can use the center line. You can always add more symbols, and remember these are two-dimensional and view specific. To add more symbols, you would select the symbol and load family. In the Imperial Library, you would go to Annotations, and in the general folder of annotations, you would find other items that you can use for symbols. For instance, a graphic scale, or even a different north arrow. You can create a symbol legend to put on your cover sheet that shows these symbols and labels them for people to understand what your drawings entail. To do that, you would go to your View tab and create a new legend here. We might call this the symbol legend. And a legend is very similar to a drafting view, that it is a blank piece of paper. We can go back to our Annotation tab, select Symbol, and perhaps put a north arrow, and then label it north arrow. We can then place this onto a cover sheet for our symbol legend. When we're creating the legend, Revit shows us all the symbols that we could use to fill in our legend with. These are all of the elements that Revit, this file of Revit, is using. All the different tags and grid and section heads, etc. Let's quickly show you how to create this onto a sheet. We'll go down to our project browser and add a new sheet. And we can just go to the legends again in our project browser here. And if we open up the legends, we can see that here's our symbol legend, and we can just drag it onto the sheet. And now we have only just the north arrow, but we have put the symbol legend onto the sheet.